Hey there! So today we have another review, and this is a beer courtesy of Jeff, so thank you so much. This is Surfcasting from Oxbow. So it comes in that script. In a box opening had a hard time reading that, but this is a 4.5% Grisette brewed with American hops, wheat, and fresh limes. And what is a Grisette? So I actually had a customer who came in and was like, I don't like Grisettes, but I like farmhouse ales and saisons, which actually doesn't sort of make sense because the world of this kind of beer, farmhouse ales, is sort of the umbrella, and then you have beers like Grisette and saison. Grisette generally is a low alcohol saison, and then saison is quite ambiguous. It can be, something like saison DuPont, something a little bit malty, a little bit more yeast-driven, not mixed fermentation, and then you have the mixed fermentation stuff, which can be a little bit more tart, a little bit barrel aged, all these kind of different beers that sit in the whole world of farmhouse ales. But in general, Grisette, I would argue, is just a smaller kind of saison. Saison DuPont, I think, rocks at 6.5 or 7.5%. You guys correct me on that one. BJCP, I should know this stuff, but this is a small one, 4.5%. So it's pretty much a small Grisette brewed with fresh limes. So very interesting that they're doing limes on this one. And actually, sorry, sea salt too. So I guess this is their take on their house culture with sort of the thing that you do with a goza. So like a lime goza, but in a saison Grisette, small saison kind of form. But anyway, the beer comes in as beautiful straw color, has beautiful haze to it, off-white head. On the aroma, definitely smell the lime. Quite intense on that. Generally, I'm not the biggest fan of lime in beers. It sort of like plays into that kind of just like squeezing artificial lime into a lot of beers that I've had in the past, but also just like putting fresh lime into your like Corona. It's not something I generally enjoy, but a lot of lime zest. A little bit of that house culture is a little bit doughy there too. A little bit of the saison-y thing has a like light hay, kind of like rusticity to it, but it's dominated by lime and that doughy malt note. Cheers. Oh yeah, so this beer is actually quite tart. Their house culture has come in, and I imagine it's either that or the limes has really pushed up the acidity on this one. And then it plays with this like wonderful, like intense salinity. It has a kind of a doughy malt character, a little bit of that refreshing saison thing, a little bit of that acidity, and then it plays into just really intensely salted limes. I never knew Oxbow to really do a kind of beer like this, but honestly it does sort of play in the world of goza. This is their kind of Grisette, but like it plays in the world of goza. It's not as intensely sour as something like Westbrook goza. I think a lot of gozas are a little bit more nuanced, sort of like Anderson Valley. But this has a little bit more chew and malt to it, even though I imagine they use a good amount of wheat, just like a goza would. It's sort of more sort of like a chewy goza, a little less intense on the acidity, really intense lime flavor, really intense acidity. It almost has a kind of sharp, minerally kind of bite on the back end. It's a crusher, refreshing beer. Wow. Yeah, this is sort of their take on a kind of like a lime soda / goza kind of thing. Really, really interesting beer. I think this is a summer crusher. Quite nice. Yeah, surf casting. Definitely a fun beer. Thank you so much, Jeff. This is fantastic. As for me, this is getting a very delicious summer crusher. But it's a little harsh. I feel like there's something a little bit too intense on the back end, a little bit too much salinity, a little bit too much of that kind of like slate kind of like minerality to it. But it does something more than a lot of your gozas do. It has a lot more chew and yeast expression, which is quite nice. It's very quenching, so it's quite nice. 93. Sure, 93. Fantastic. I highly recommend it. I think it's actually quite delicious, but it really plays on specific notes that you want on your palate. So it does something quite interesting. So if that's something that you really enjoy, that kind of like bright lime note, that bright, intense salinity, and that really quenching note for a beer, along with something that really tastes like a Belgian kind of saison-y Grisette kind of thing, definitely enjoy it. So until next time, guys, cheers. Later.